Bruh, this episode of The Flash, this was one of the best season premieres I've ever seen of the series so far. And that's not me putting it lightly. That's not me sugarcoating or anything. It's just that good to me. But no, getting into this episode, man, for real. I really enjoyed, how Nora broke down why she was there in the first place. She literally said, "Look, we finally learned the big mistake she made. Obviously, going back in time, has its consequences. That's Barry knows very, very firsthand, just as well as Team Flash. I think it was really nice to see how Nora made the same mistakes as her young father once did, and how he was able to teach her about how bad it was. Because constantly we saw throughout the episode how Barry was so cautious, hey, you stay here, you stay there, you stay here, you stay there. Don't say this, don't say this. Make sure she doesn't do this. He was very on point with not making sure she does not fuck up the timeline even more. And you can tell how much of a daddy's girl Nora actually is. She never, and come to find out, as you saw in the trailer for Warzone, I believe, or the first initial trailer for season 5, we see him in the time vault, and she says, and according to Nora, Barry vanishes, of course, as we all know in that newspaper headline in 2024 because there's this crisis, and I'm thinking it goes to Crisis on Infinite Earths, where in which the Flash has to sacrifice himself to save the entire multiverse. And, he does just that, but the only difference is, and Nora ends up showing him the other side of the newspaper article, I believe, where 25 years later, he's still missing. So she spends the next 25 years trying to get her father back. And that honestly almost broke my damn heart, man. That almost got me really, really emotional because I can kind of relate to that. I can see why that was why she's so hell bent on staying there. In fact, the way she was able to actually stay on Earth One is she used a remnants field blockers. That's actually what I'm gonna call it, because that's the same thing that Cisco used when Barry arrived in the future to get Savitar's name to figure out his identity. And Nora, you borrowed one from the Flash Museum, which he kind of spoke about a little bit, you know, about things of that nature and everything like that. And even the metahuman that they're actually going up against, Gridlock, he was able, and I actually enjoyed that scene too, where Cisco was able to break down the crime scene, and how Dibney and Killer were actually able to talk for like a little bit. And the way Cisco broke down the crime scene, just to talk about this real quick with Gridlock, is, excuse me, was pretty much Act One. Gridlock shows up, the cops are already incapacitated. He's already siphoning up enough kinetic energy. So, Act Two, the Flash comes up and tries to attack him. He hits him, and Gridlock's cells are able to absorb all that kinetic energy. Act Three, he sends Barry sky high into Kingdom Come with that, and just reproducing, pretty much just redistributing the same kinetic energy that Barry built up to hit him with. Even speaking of the which, speaking of the Flash, Barry, as we all know, he doesn't have his signature suit. He actually had to go to OG season 1 suit. Even the cop said, "Wait, I'm going old school today, Flash." He's like, "Yeah, it's a little tighter than I remember." Because he wanted to see when he destroyed one of the satellites. And even so, actually, Nora actually, during the whole Gridlock face down, in which Barry was sent to Kingdom Come with that fucking punch, I feel like Gridlock first realized. I feel like Gridlock kind of was getting accustomed to his own powers because when he hit him, he was like nice, as if he's never really used that maximum amount of power before. But anyway, to see Nora actually interact with her father during that fight, you can kind of tell how um, just how much she really wants to salvage this relationship with her father. Because she never got a chance to. So she actually ends up, costing Team Flash to the victory against Gridlock, and she really beats herself up about it. She even goes on to say when Barry and her are in the time vault, saying how much she's not much of a, how much she's actually a really really bad speedster. Embarrass her because he's her father, and it was really nice to actually see just how much in common Barry and Nora have. We even saw Iris even try to connect with her daughter, but there was just nothing there. We saw her even trying while they were sitting down at dinner, just drinking coffee, that she just couldn't connect with her daughter like Barry could. Even when Iris and Barry were talking about that, Barry was kind of just a little disappointed, only because for once in his life, nothing in his life has ever been really normal. He grew up without his mother, and he grew up with his father in jail. He just wanted the one time they have a child together, which is Nora, to be normal, and that's what really got to Barry the most. And I can definitely understand that and why. But really, and also to see Wally, go get the legends because they were trying to send her home. This was around the time in which they were trying to send her back home. And Wally said, yeah, let's not have her do that because she produces negative tachyons. She doesn't have the ability to possess positive tachyons. And at least that's the initial theory. The problem with that is she, like I said before at the beginning of the video, she was wearing a remnants field blocker. A remnants field blocker. It's the field that forms whenever a speedster begins to utilize the speed force. Well, she blocked it so that now she could salvage, time with her parents, her father mainly. And she even told Barry that when they were in the time vault, like, look, listen, if I would have never won this, he would have sent me right back, without a second hint, and she's right. But the fact that she spent 25 years trying to get her father back says a lot. I mean, no, not just that even. It's the fact that he was gone for 25 years after that. 25 years. So I'm really wondering in which direction are they going to use that Infinite Crisis on Infinite Earth storyline. They're going to take bits and pieces from it, or are they going to utilize that whole disappearance? Because if Barry disappears at the end of this damn season, my God. But I even enjoyed seeing the whole Flash Museum aspect of it actually come about, and I thought that was actually pretty cool. I think it really was, and like I said, this isn't a full review because the stream messed up, so I'm gonna pause it right here and get back with you guys when I see the entire episode. I'm sorry. I also wanted just to include. I thought it was pretty cool also how Cecile was actually able to still utilize her powers on her baby daughter Jenna. Like she read her infant daughter's mind. She's like, oh no, because baby, because Jenna started to whine, and she's like, oh no, she's just hungry. She was like, oh my gosh, I'm still able to use my powers. I thought that was a really cool thing for Cecile to experience. I thought that was really cool.